All right, family. Black Power. Black Power is the truth hour with General Sarah Student Seti. Kick back, get your mind ready for some information that's guaranteed to be heavy. We got some fire today. Y'all already know what it is. We're gonna be talking about was Africa named after Leo Africanus. We want to deal with this most important subject today. A lot of people parrot that without really knowing if it's true or not. But we're gonna deal with it before we get started. Make sure you get over to my Patreon, General Seti. Link is at the top of the chat. Most definitely the most poppin'est Patreon page on the planet. Over 500 exclusive live streams, man. Fire. Click that link, check it out. Also, kingseti.com online marketplace. All official General Seti products, t-shirts, hoodies, DVDs, African and Kemetic jewelry. We got it for your family. Check it out. Also, we have memberships to the YouTube page. You can click that, get some videos. Just check the home page. You'll see what we got on the menu. And if the general presentation is off the chain, you can most definitely donate. Also, link is in the chat. You can do that also. And just make sure you get a video a thumbs up, subscribe immediately. Get a video a thumbs up, like it because you love it, share it with your family and friends, comment, just don't say nothing stupid because you will get banned. All right. We had to deal with this extensively. We had to deal with this extensively because this is one of the most parodied, comments where, when people say, black people say they African, here come a motherfucker say, oh man, Africa wasn't even named that, it was named after a white man, named after, Leo Africanus, and which is not true. And if you took the time to do some goddamn research, you would know it's not true. And the fact that you keep parroting that false information, and it motherfuckers been saying it all for a long time. That let you know motherfuckers ain't did no research in a long time, if they ever did any. You feel what I'm saying? And so, that's one of the, most parroted, falsified statements in the conscious community that Africa was named after Leo Africanus. And in my doing my due diligence, which I will do, you understand what I'm saying? Which I will do. Before I got up here, I made sure that I did the research, and I'm quite sure that I've been touching on it for a couple of videos by now. That you should have done some research yourself to validate that this shit was not true. Let me make sure my comments is up there. Yeah, to make sure that that is not true. Yeah. Black Power family. Black Power on peace and black power to you family and to all the brothers and sisters out there viewing the general at this time. You feel what I'm saying? Now, let's just deal with this now. And coming to, a lot of people spew the fact, that Leo, as if Leo Africanus was somehow a white man. And from my understanding is, that he is a Moor. Most definitely that he was a Moor. And people act like, this Leo, because I'm thinking to myself like Leo, and not Leo Africanus, but Scipio, I believe, what they really want to say is Scipio Africanus, which not even named after Scipio Africanus, because it's clear that it was used even before Scipio Africanus. I believe Scipio Africanus was the general that was fighting against Hannibal. You see what I'm saying? But a lot of people say that it was named after, and even then it wouldn't have been named because it was used previous to the Romans. It was used previous to the Romans. The Greeks used it before the Romans used it. So that's clear, okay? That's very clear. So that was before even Scipio Africanus, okay? And so as we see, let me get it up here for you now. Let me get it up here for you. Wait a minute, matter of fact, where I'm at right here. And I'm gonna let you do your own research now. But where we get we ask the question: was Africa named after Leo Africanus? And then, matter of fact, I'm gonna put it obviously it relates also to Scipio Africanus because it already relate that they used it before the Greeks used it before the Romans, and Scipio Africanus was a Roman general. But anyway, origin of the name Africa. No, Africa was not named after Leo Africanus. Okay, matter of fact, it was used over 1700 years before Leo Africanus was even born. Okay, we got to be clear about that. Okay, we'll touch down on that. Now we see here origin of the name Africa. The word Africa dates back to, now it says right here, but even the one before that says that it was used by the Greeks. So yeah, it was used by the Greeks also. But even then, it says the word Africa dates back to ancient Roman times, over 1500 years before Leo Africanus. Leo Africanus was 1488 to 1554. Okay. It was so I don't know where people get this nonsense that Africa was named after Leo Africanus, and who is a Moor, and his name I don't know where. I mean, this is, I guess people rename people all the fucking time, and so that's not even his damn name. You feel what I'm saying? That's not even his real name. His name is, and we went over it not too long ago. Uh Al Hassan. Al Hassan ibn Muhammad al Wazan. Okay. Al Hassan ibn Muhammad al Wazan. Okay. And so I guess they renamed it. So that wasn't even his goddamn name. And see, so people should just right there, go ahead and I mean, just listen to that. Okay, just listen to that. That wasn't even the man's name. They renamed the man Leo Africanus. Nobody would even know he was a damn Muslim, and they wouldn't even know he was a Moor with a name like that. That ain't even a Muslim name, but he was a Muslim, and he was a Moor. And he gave one of the most important early written descriptions of West Africa in his book, Description of Africa, which he wrote in 1526, written after he traveled extensively throughout the region. Okay, so he went through Mali, Songhai, and the Sudan, the Sahel. Okay, and so Leo Africanus defined West Africa. He used the term land of the blacks. Okay, Arabic Balad al Sudan. Okay, Balad as Sudan. Okay, that's what he named it. And many people south of the Sahara, what they meaning is. Okay. And so he going into West Africa, Leo Africanus explicitly described West Africa as urban, organized, and wealthy, not primitive. You see, so a lot of people got to understand, because they look at today, and a lot of people bring up, that, it's a lot of, they say, oh, dusty Africans and this, that, and the third. But many of these areas today have been pillaged for, hundreds, in many instances, over 1,000 years. And so, but when you go back into history, you will see many of these areas that are very worn and torn today. Very over hundreds and thousands, over 1,000 years of turmoil and pillage being in the land at the time in which Leo Africanus went into West Africa, and he was from Northwest Africa. His family was from Northwest Africa, even though he was born in Granada, okay, which was one of the citadels of the Blackamoor in Spain. You see what I'm saying? It very well might have been the first and the last stronghold of the Moor in Spain. You see Granada, and that's where you see the Alhambra, which is one of the marvels of all of the Islamic world. You see what I'm saying? Established by them blackamoors up there in Spain. Okay. And so at that time when Leo Africanus went into West Africa, it was a very one of the citadels of civilization on the planet at that time. He wrote that Timbuktu was a major center of trade, filled with scholars, judges, and teachers, home to large library books. And that's very important because outside of when you think of the two most what I say important, almost mythical libraries. You talking about the Library of Alexandria? Okay, wait a minute. Let me see. I'm where I'm at. Let me see. I'm seeing some. Let me see how my connection is. Okay. Yeah. Let me see. Okay. We saying we talking about major major center of trade. That's right. Home filled with scholars, judges, and teachers, and home to large libraries and universities and universities and universities. Okay. And so let me see here. Where was I? Okay, right here. Also, he noted that books were more valuable than gold in Timbuktu. So a lot of time when you look at today and you look at, yeah, you can't judge yesterday by today. You can't judge yesterday by the goddamn day. It's ups and downs in history. You see what I'm saying? And so the same niggas that you could look at today, dusty and crusty, and nigga ain't got no connection to the ancestor whatsoever in the ancient world, it wasn't that way. You see what I'm saying? You talking about 300-400 years ago, it wasn't that way. You see what I'm saying? He went in there around 1500 something AD, and Timbuktu was still, very much, looked at as a mythical city, almost like damn El Dorado and shit. You see what I'm saying? On that type of level. And so, and Leo Africanus stated, and because since people want to bring him up and say it was named, we'll talk about what he said when he got to West Africa. It's not the same back then that what it is today. Islamic law, grammar, astronomy, and medicine were taught right there in Timbuktu. You see what I'm saying? Which is, was under, if I'm not mistaken, a part of this the Empire of Ghana, I believe part of the Empire of Ghana, Mali, and Songhay. You see, so I believe it was the citadel of education under all three nations. Okay, scholars came from all across North Africa, so even Cairo. See, we got to talk because people keep thinking that somehow that there's some type of wall. I believe they believe that Donald Trump built the wall in the center of Africa and that black people wasn't going back and forth from east to west, which is not true. You see what I'm saying? There were highways going from east to west even before the Arabs came. They just co-opted the highways, the cultural highways and trade highways all across Africa that have been used for tens of thousands of years. Okay, that have been used for tens of thousands of years. And so it says judges and scholars were well paid. This directly contradicts later European claims that West Africa had no written knowledge. That's a damn lie. That's a damn lie. You see what I'm saying? When them goddamn Europeans was still up in there, they couldn't even take a bath. Didn't even have underwear. You understand what I'm saying? Motherfucker didn't have nothing. You understand what I'm saying? You already know it was probably damn near a billion flies, you understand, invaded Europe. You understand? Nastiness, disease, and shit. And we got to just say what it is. Wealth and trade. He emphasized enormous gold production. Trade networks link. Listen, this is true. Trade networks linking West Africa to Europe. Use of cowries, gold dust, and salt as currency. So even back then, salt, motherfucker, when them damn Europeans got a chance to put some salt on their motherfucking food, they went crazy. You see, they went crazy over damn salt. You know, just being able to put some seasoning on that shit. They ain't even have seasoning. You see? And enormous gold production, and so okay. And he described caravans of thousands of camels, salt moving south, gold moving north. You see, salt moving. So you talking about heavy industry. You talking about heavy industry. You understand? So we got to paint the picture like it need to be painted. So people, they think that that's all, what they see over there. That's the pillage of Africa. It's coming up. It's coming up. Mine's been pillaged here. Mine's been fucking pillaged all over the globe. So we just got to understand that. And so we can't look at, the low of our people and use them as a marker to define our greatness. That's bullshit. Our people didn't lost they self. They don't know who the hell they are. And so I'm not going to take no lost nigga and use his opinion about a goddamn thing because he's disconnected from who he is and from his greatness. And so he can't identify shit for somebody who's already on the path. You see, and that's what's been done. And so when people see the lowliness of the day, you understand, they define all of history. You understand, based on what some dusty niggas say today. You can't do that. You got to have better sense than that. These people obviously are not living, and maybe they are trying to reclaim themselves. Some of them, not all of them. Whole lot of them are not trying to claim. They didn't fell into the European way. You understand? They wanted white Jesus. They want motherfucking Christmas and goddamn at the equator and shit and all that, and Easter bunnies and you know what I'm saying? Everything they fall right into the Western world, and they didn't forgot, the mighty systems of civilization that ruled the planet for thousands of years before it was a European even on the planet. They don't know that, you see, and a lot of them is so intoxicated with white supremacy that they probably never go back, and so we can't use those people. You understand, to be the benchmark for anything as far as the greatness of Africa. And that go for over here too. Ain't no borders or mental decrepit niggas. You see what I'm saying? There's no border. You see, they right here, and many of them profess to be conscious, and that would make the shit even more deadly. Because motherfuckers say they conscious, motherfuckers sound just like one of them dusty ass niggas that they point their finger at. They say when you point at another motherfucker, you got three pointing back at you. And that very well may be true. People in appearance, Leo Africanus describe West Africans, which we already know. Dark skinned, physically strong, skilled craftsmen and traders. Importantly, he never described them as inferior. He also praised their hospitality, honesty, and discipline. Something that majority of you niggas ain't got today. You see, at all. Strong government and law, strong kings and centralized states, organized taxation systems, courts, judges, and written laws. The Songhai Empire in particularly was portrayed as highly structured. Okay, military maintained standing armies, used cavalry, infantry, bows, and spears, had disciplined military organization. Agriculture and economy, rice, millet, sorghum, farming, cattle, sheep, goats, skilled leather work, weaving, and metal work. You see? Okay, so and of course at that time when he went in, West Africa was under, Islamic influence. So Islam was widespread among the elites in cities. Indigenous African religions remained strong among rural population. So the indigenous African religions were still there too. You see, they maintain a strong current in the rural population. Okay, it was religious coexistence rather than chaos, which is not there today because they got a lot of them goddamn zealots in Africa today. You see what I'm saying? All them motherfuckers that want Sharia laws, a lot of fighting going on trying to stop. If it's not Islam, then they want to get it. They want to get the indigenous out of there. You see? Yeah, yeah, yeah. I see, brother. Would you take another pill and back to these for digging and lecture? Yeah, I got plans. I'm getting things together. I'm tightening things up, in my personal realm, and you know what I'm saying. It's that time gonna come, and it's gonna come soon. And I'll let you know. We'll start to let people know. And so, you see, and so this truly, because the European world was talking about West Africa was uncivilized, say they lack government. This is what was being taught in the Western world, that black people didn't have no civilization. You feel what I'm saying? That they did not have civilization, that they were savages, and that language comes later with the Atlantic slave trade. This is what they just did. This foul-mouthed, fork-tongued European. This what he was teaching people. You see what I'm saying? And that's why a lot of people, even from early on, did not want to associate with Africa because they saw Africa as a savage. They look at Tarzan on the goddamn, and they see, the African come running through bones in their nose and shit, got a little one braid sticking up with a bone in it and shit, and shit, two sharp bones coming out their nose and shit. People didn't want to be that, they didn't want to be that. And so that's why, that was one of the ways that they taught to keep our people and keep telling people that we came from Africa. Motherfuckers, in reality, man, he very, if he wanted us to go back to Africa, if he really wanted, he would have, you can't portray Africa like that and think people gonna want to go back. You see what I'm saying? So, a lot of people, teach that, that the white man taught we was from Africa and shit and this, that, and the third. And why would he do that? You see? And why he didn't do no other continent like that? You see, if he was just trying to take the land, shit, I mean, you got to miseducate a whole lot of motherfuckers to make everybody believe they from a whole nother continent. Why they ain't never do no other people like that? You see, they went to Australia. They didn't try to teach them motherfuckers they was from China. They went to India. They ain't try to teach them motherfuckers that they was from goddamn Vietnam. They went into, to Africa. They ain't try to teach them motherfuckers that they was from goddamn South America. So why is we the only motherfucker niggas on the continent that we get taught that we from somewhere else? And you can miseducate everybody? You can miseducate and nobody, and you go to Africa and goddamn to the other continents, they have maintained some evidence of their original culture. How could we lose all our goddamn shit? The majority of our people don't sound right, but we got to look in it. So to sum it up, Africa was not named after Leo Africanus. That's not true. And then even Scipio Africanus. Let me see. I'm gonna put Scipio because I know somebody might try to run there and say, "Oh, I meant to say Scipio Africanus." Okay, well, yeah. Let's see what they say about Scipio Africanus. No, Africa was not named after Scipio Africanus. Okay. No, did Scipio Africanus give Africa its name? No, the name all Africa already existed before Scipio Africana received his title. Okay. Okay, so Scipio Africanus was the Roman general who ended up defeating Hannibal, at the Battle of Zama. That was 202 BC. Okay. And so after that victory, the Romans gave him the honorific title Africanus, conqueror in Africa. Okay, that's what it means. So, you know, Roman generals were given titles based on the place they fought, not the other way around. Okay, so that's clear. So even Scipio Africa, so y'all niggas don't know what the fuck y'all talking about. Do some motherfucking research before y'all get to bumping your goddamn gums, man. You see? Okay, title, this is a key. Africa as a Roman provincial name existed before 202 BC. The Afri people of North Africa were known to Romans earlier. And Skill was called Africanus because he fought in Africa. Africa was not the name, not named after Scipio. So that's that. Okay, and so we're, you know, and some people think that Afri come from a fear or a far. Okay, a fear or a far, which was a North African. Some people say Berber related. Some people say Moorish related. Later become the Moor. You see, and so okay, so that is where, you know, most people, you see, get the origin name after a people of Africa, not no foreign person. Okay, so let's deal with that. And you talking about, you know, you talking about pre-Roman and shit. You talking about pre-Roman around the Roman time, which means long before the Arab got in there, they were still, you understand, dark. You see, still dark. You understand, the pillage of North Africa had not happened on that level yet. So you talking about that it was still dark. And so those people were black people. So let's just deal with that. But anyway, family, that's we getting started today. Go do your research. Uh-huh. That's right, family. I'm feeling good, family. We in here doing this. We in here tightening it up, nigga. We adjusting motherfuckers out here. You know, we had to adjust motherfuckers out here. They bumped their gums. We got to come with the fact. And I'm glad to hear that, you know, we're going to refer to Leo Africanus even more because he's saying some clear things about West Africa that we got to, you know, we got to keep reiterating to our people. You feel what I'm saying? But family, stay with me. Make sure y'all get over there. The Patreon, you feel me? We got some fire, and I'm getting down today. It's already some fire up there right now that I did just the day before. So y'all can get over there, check it out. KingSeti.com. You already know what it is. Official General Seti DVDs, t-shirts, hoodies. We African and Kemetic jewelry. We got something over there. Check out the memberships where you can get access to exclusive material there. And like and like the video, family. Subscribe, like the video, and I'll be right back. Black Power.